Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Sigmascape version 2.0 Savage, also known as O6S. This is the second Savage raid made available by patch 4.2 in Final Fantasy XIV Rise of a New Sun. My name is Mistech and I'll be your raid guide. The first change you'll notice is the addition of paint colors to the platform. Each sketch will now require a very specific color to activate its effect. There is also a new sketch in the middle which will require all 4 colors to activate. The general idea of the encounter is the same as normal mode, with players using the respective effects of each sketch to counter the possession of specific paintings. On Savage mode, you'll have to deal with both the demon and the goddess Shadownook possessing paintings at the same time. The painting possession effects also depend on who it's being possessed by, but we'll get to that soon. Both the off-tank and main tank will be targeted for some spicy auto attacks throughout the entire encounter. These can be particularly dangerous when paired with the damage of actual mechanics, so you'll need to rotate your cooldowns carefully throughout the encounter. Keep in mind that all damage in this encounter is magic-based. The rotation of painting possession is the same each time, and players can dunk themselves into the blue paint to be ready for the first mechanic combo. After some RP, Demon Shadownook appears and casts Demonic Howl. This is a heavy-hitting raid-wide AoE damage that needs to be shielded and healed through. Demonic SHEAR is a tank buster. Pull down and heal through this damage as necessary. The demon and goddess will eventually move to the center and begin to cast possession. At the end of the cast, they will each fly to their respective paintings, causing the resultant mechanic to cast. During this first possession, the demon will possess the fire painting while the goddess possesses the wind painting. Players will need to paint the blue water sketch with the appropriate paint to receive the fire resistance up buff necessary to survive the flash fire explosion. If you do this incorrectly, you will die. The goddess effect on the wind painting will spawn the storm's grip in the south part of the room that will blast the room with flash gale. Players will need to stack in the storm to share damage. Immediately after, demon will cast demonic howl, and healers need to be ready for the nasty healing requirement in this short time. Next up, goddess will cast poltergeist, which will summon a reaper ad that will tether to one of the healers. At the same time, demon will cast demonic shear on the main tank. The reaper ad will move towards the healer anytime they are not looking directly at it. If it gets too close, it will kill the healer. On top of all of this, Goddess is also casting Divine Lure, a gaze attack that all players should turn away from. To avoid allowing the Reaper to get too close, the tethered healer should wait until the last possible moment to turn from the gaze attack before quickly turning back to face it. Eventually, the Reaper will disappear and the healer will be freed. Next up, another Demonic Howl to heal through, and then Demonic Pain will link up 2 sets of players to each other with these tethers. These players need to move away from each other until the tether turns purple. The tether changing indicates that players are far enough from each other to minimize the damage of demonic pain. Another demonic howl to heal through, and then the goddess and demon will both release and return to the center. The next possession will be demon in the wind painting and goddess in the earth painting. For this combo, one assigned player will need to use the pink paint on the appropriate sketch to ride this pink dude that will be used to blow away the easterlies created by the demon's painting. The goddess painting will cause a massive circle AoE to spawn under every player. To handle this, all players will stack and bait the circle AoEs on one side of the boss and then move to the safe zone on the other side. The assigned pink player will blow away the easterlies from this safe side of the boss so that the raid can continue damaging the demon. During this time, demonic shear will target the main tank. Don't forget your cooldowns. Heal through another demonic howl, and at this point the easterlies will explode and disappear. A second demonic howl to heal through, and then a random player will be marked up with this orange marker. This will afflict them with Last Kiss, a debuff that will do significant damage to them and anyone around them after the duration. To handle this, we have the player give the debuff to the off-tank by having them stand on top of them until the debuff is transferred. The off-tank then takes the hit on their own with cooldowns to survive the damage. Another demonic howl to heal through, and the next poltergeist will spawn and tether to a healer. Handle this in the same way as before. Make sure you look away from the goddess to avoid divine lure, and heal and cooldown through another demonic shear tank buster. Immediately after, a player will be targeted for demonic storm with this stack up marker, and all players should stack in to share that damage. This is followed by another demonic howl, so healers be ready for some more hefty AoE healing. Another release, and the demon and goddess will return to the center. This possession will have the demon possessing both the fire and earth paintings, while the goddess possesses the water painting. To handle this combo, players will first need to dunk themselves in blue paint and apply the fire resist up buff from the blue water sketch. Then they need to dunk themselves in black paint and then use the black Air Force sketch to begin riding tiny Air Force mounts. This order of buffs will allow players to first avoid flash fire and then the earthquake by being above the ground in their mini airships. The goddess possession of the water painting will cause huge AoE telegraphs to cover the platform with only 2 very thin safe zones to stand in. To prepare for this, once players grab the Air Force buffs, they stack up right next to the earth painting where the demon will eventually appear. Once earthquake occurs, they can dismount and resume damage on the boss. They'll need to stand in this area to avoid the massive flash flood AoEs cast by the goddess at the water painting. Anytime the demon is possessing more than one painting, he will cast Materialize, which will spawn a clone of himself at the second painting. This clone will be casting the second set of painting possession mechanics until the next release. Players affected by demonic pain will need to be ready to quickly separate from their partner to avoid damage again. Next up, the goddess will cast Lullaby, which will apply the apathetic debuff on all players. This will drain their MP and TP over time and also reduces their healing received. The demon will begin to repeatedly cast demonic howl here. Needless to say, we want to remove this debuff as quickly as possible to allow the healers to top everyone off. To do this, we'll need to activate the siren sketch in the middle of the platform. It's best to assign 4 players to grab one of each color and have them paint the middle sketch together as soon as Lullaby is cast. This will summon a siren that will cast Song of Bravery, removing our debuffs and restoring full MP and TP. Immediately after is another demonic shear tank buster. Damage dealers will then be targeted by the orange prey marker from the clone's earth painting. They will spawn a number of small AoE circles that will chase them for a short time. Affected players should move away from others to avoid overlapping damage. Next, a player will be affected by Last Kiss again. Be sure to bring this debuff to the off tank or you will probably die. He'll through another demonic howl and then release his cast and they return to the center. This possession has the demon possessing the wind and water paintings, while the goddess possesses the earth painting. To handle this combo, we'll need 1 player to activate the yellow boulder sketch and 1 player riding the pink dude. Everyone else will stack to bait the earth goddess AoEs. Once these telegraphs are out, players will need to immediately move behind the boulder to avoid the demonic wave coming out of the water painting. As soon as that hits, players can then move to the safe side of the boss while the pink player pushes all the Easterlies out of the way. Heal through demonic howl and wait for those Easterlies to explode. The demon will materialize another clone at the water painting, which will first target all players with demonic spout. This will spawn small AoE circles under the player twice, with a demonic storm stack up marker in between the sets. To handle this, players will stack on one side of the boss until the first set of AoE circles pop out. They'll then move together to the other side of the boss and wait for the second set to spawn. Once that second set spawns, they can move back to the original side of the boss together to share the damage of demonic storm while dodging the spouts. Up next, another demonic howl followed by another set of demonic pain tethers. Players will need to stay close to the boss here to avoid the next flash flood AoE from the clone. Another demonic shear to cool down and heal through before the next release. This possession will have the demon possessing the fire and earth paintings again, while the goddess possesses the wind painting. Remember to grab the blue sketch first, then the black sketch. Players will need to stack together near the center while they wait on fire flash and earthquake. Immediately after, players will need to stack in the storm's grip to share damage. There is another demonic howl immediately after this damage, so healers be ready for some heavy healing. Demonic shear targets the main tank soon after, and then the clone is materialized by the earth painting. The goddess will cast Poltergeist and tether another Reaper add on a healer, while 2 players will be marked for the earth prey targets. Handle each mechanic in the same manner while keeping an eye out for Divine Lure, which occurs shortly after. Heal through another demonic howl and cool down through another demonic shear on the main tank. Another demonic pain set to handle, followed by another demonic howl before the next release. This possession has the demon possessing the wind and water paintings, while the goddess goes for the earth painting. To handle this, have a player spawn the yellow sketch boulder, and then the assigned player needs to ride the pink dude. Players will again stack up to bait the circle AoEs, then move directly behind the boulder to avoid demonic wave. Once the wave passes, the raid can move to the safe spot next to the boss while the pink player pushes away the Easterlies. Heal through another demonic howl. At this point, the boss should be dead or close to it, as his last demonic howl is a slow casting Hardened Rage. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we'll take a look at Sigmascape version 3.0 Savage. As always, thanks for watching.